little bit of money into something other than just spending it. Squirreling that little bit away, you get the tax benefit of being able to put it away into something that's going to grow tax deferred. So the 25 is not actually costing you 25, it's costing you 17 or 18. As you near the end, you'll start getting apprehensive about what am I going to do when I retire.
I can imagine.
Do not worry, you will find plenty to do when you retire.
Hi, this is Everett Crockett. Welcome to TRS, Your Retirement in Focus. Members and friends, the story of today's guest has a perfect mix of dedication, reinvention, and also a bit of serendipity. Joining us today is Rick Gunn, retired CFO of Forsyth County Schools, proud veteran of the Georgia Army National Guard, and passionate craftsman behind Rose Creek Guitars. Rick was born and raised in Savannah, Georgia. He and his wife Pam have two sons, Chris and Mitchell. He graduated from Georgia Southern College in 1988 and began his career that same year with the Georgia Department of Audits. In 1993, he took a position with the Forsyth County Board of Education. He has spent over 25 years shaping the financial future of Forsyth County schools, overseeing explosive growth that saw the student population jump from 8,600 to over 50,000 among his tenure. In 2018, he retired as their CFO. And Rick also served in the Georgia Army National Guard, reaching the rank of first lieutenant, and we thank him for his service.
Thank you.
But retirement didn't slow Rick down. It kicked off a second act filled with creativity and strings, of all things. What started as a hobby, sparked by his son's guitar lessons, turned into a full-fledged passion for building instruments. Now with nearly 150 custom acoustic guitars crafted and shipped across the United States, Rick is living the dream, watching his handiwork on stage. So join me now as we welcome the former CFO of Forsyth County Schools and the owner and designer of Rose Creek Guitars, Rick Gunn. Rick, how are you today, sir?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
It's so good to have you here.
Nice to be here.
It's a very interesting interview, and I'm so looking forward to it. And now, having said all that, and seeing that you had quite a journey, let's jump into some questions for our listeners. So, Rick, you've been on both sides of TRS membership as an active contributing member and as a retiree. Before we get into what you're currently doing, let's talk about your previous experience as the Chief Financial Officer for Forsyth County Schools. Could you share a bit about what you were responsible for and what were some of the most rewarding aspects of that role?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I started in 1993 when Forsyth County was just a small school system at the time. And of course, everyone moved north from Atlanta.
Yes.
So Forsyth just kept growing and growing and growing. And I actually, when I was a member of the State Department of Audits, I was on the audit team for 2 years, 91 and 92. So I got to see the school system and their financials, which helped me a lot in making my decision. And they actually had an opening in 1993, and that's when I went there. And as the system grew, my roles changed from year to year. And the last 3 years, I was the chief financial officer of the system.
Wow.
So my day was spent making sure everything was running fine. We did several bond issues during that time, opened 31 schools while I was there. So you can see the growth that we've had, and it's still growing.
Wow. That's pretty remarkable growth. And as you indicated, the migration up north, and surely nobody saw that coming beforehand. Right. you just never do. And when you do see it, you want to make sure you act and plan accordingly.
Exactly.
Well, being that you handled a lot of financial responsibility for the school system, would you say that your career helped you prepare for retirement?
Oh, definitely. Being the CFO, benefits was in our area as well. So several times I was able to talk with new teachers coming in, discussing the benefits and explaining to them, how TRS worked. And, there's other ways of saving for retirement as well that you don't think of when you just took a new job.
Right.
So I used to like to explain to people if you could put just something into a retirement plan, 457 plan, 403 plan, anything, and just let it sit there, And as you're a teacher going through your career, just add to it a little bit at a time, it grows exponentially.
Yes. Slow and steady is the
Slow
way.
and steady. That's how it works.
I wish I could start all over.
Don't we all?
I wish I could start all over and go slow and steady. A little late for that, but we're all going to be just fine. I have a feeling we're all going to be just fine. Now, some people may be thinking that they are not as experienced in finances as you are. What are some simple things that every member can do to put themselves in a good place while they're still working?
As I mentioned earlier, I probably should have said that for that question there, but putting your money, a little bit of money into something other than just spending it. I know $25 doesn't sound like a lot of money right now, but when you first start a job at the time, $25 was quite a bit of money. But squirreling that little bit away, you get the tax benefit of being able to put it away into something that's going to grow tax deferred. So the 25 is not actually costing you 25; it's costing you 17 or 18 at the time.
Yes.
And I've always been a proponent of anytime you get a raise, you take a percentage of that raise and also put it towards that retirement as a deferral.
That's a very familiar refrain on our podcast, on our show, and numerous guests had similar opinions. And you just can't beat time and interest.
Exactly.
Time and interest are the keys here. So, very good advice right there. Now, Rick, what are some of the sacrifices that you had to make while working in order to get ready for retirement?
Well, you can't live where you're just spending money haphazardly. So you try to save money. You try to be conservative. I was conservative at being an accountant. I come from a long line of accountants. We're all conservative. So we never took lavish vacations.
Yes.
Never bought the best cars. Never bought the best of anything. You try to live within your means.
Yes.
You try not to take on a lot of debt. Debt's the killer.
Yes, it is.
There's times in your life when you have to have it, but as you near retirement, the less debt you can have is overall better for your financial situation.
Certainly. Good debt, bad debt.
Good debt, bad debt, exactly.
Yes, indeed. Well, Rick, people say that when it's time to make the decision to retire. When did you know that it was the right time for you?
I had always planned on retiring around my 30 years. So I think I retired actually 3 months after my 30 years was in. But as my career went along, you're working with budgets, you're working with boards, you're working with superintendents, taxpayers, and you just get to a point in life where you're like, it's time. And you know when it's time.
So I've heard.
Yes, you actually wake up one morning and say, it's time.
Well, yeah, I similarly share this story often about my parents. My dad drove trucks for 44 years. And I said, well, what are you going to do when you retire? He said, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to stay busy.
Stay busy.
And that's another thing. You want to stay busy? And I said, well, when will you retire? He said, I'll know when it's time.
Exactly.
And I'm not quite there yet, but I'm looking forward to the day when I know when it will be time. Exactly. As I know some of our viewers will be knowing when it's time for them as well. Okay, so what would you say to someone who may be in the middle of their career and may find it challenging to keep going?
Well, you just have to, you have to make a career decision sometimes. There's times in my career when you're looking at the light at the end of the tunnel thinking it's never going to get here. And then suddenly there it is, and it's time. And as you get closer, you start in your career. It's like I say, when you walk into a room and you're the oldest person in the room, or in my position as the financial guy, I was always the guy saying no when you walked into a room. When you walked into a room, people's heads would kind of go down a little bit,
right?
Because you were always the bad guy. But I did enjoy my job. But there are times in your career where you're kind of get stagnant in it, and you just kind of have to give yourself a pep talk. And then you just keep going.
Yeah, I can imagine that. Some days are better than others.
Oh, yes.
And somehow you have to just kind of keep your focus on the end goal.
That's it.
And if you could just keep your eyes on the prize, before you know it, like you were telling me earlier, before you know it, you were there.
Right.
It just suddenly was here. And you can't believe that now it's been 7 years since you've retired. Yeah. So eyes on the prize.
Hard to believe.
Stay focused on the goal. Well, obviously, you have found your purpose in retirement, and what you're doing now is not what people would expect from a former CFO. How did you get inspired to start Rose Creek Guitars?
Well, both of my boys played guitar. They actually did the Guitar Hero game.
I remember that game. Yeah.
Yep. And I had never played a guitar, and my grandfather played, but I had always wanted to play. So in 2010, about that time, I said, teach me some chords. And I bought a cheap guitar and another guitar and another guitar. And eventually I was obsessed with it, with playing. And wanted one that was about $3,000 a Martin.
Oh, my goodness.
And of course, my wife, being the CPA, said, no, that's not going to happen. And saying no was the best thing could have ever happened. Things happen for a reason,
Yes,
as they say.
Yes.
If I had purchased a guitar, I probably would have just kept buying guitars and playing guitars. But her saying no sparked me into doing some research on guitar kits. And I've always liked building things. So I did some research for several months and bought a kit for that exact guitar, a Martin HD 28 style. Took a few months, actually several months, built the first one.
Wow.
And then myself and my son started going through the Martin catalog, and we'd find a model that we wanted. I'd find a kit, and we'd build that guitar.
Wow.
And so on and so on. So that's how it started.
So that's a double treat, if you will. You already liked building, and as I understand it, you already had a woodworking shop
Yes,
at
sir.
home.
Had a small shop.
And then on top of that, you get the love for guitars, and
It's become an obsession. I cannot wait to get to work. I call it work.
A good obsession.
Exactly. I cannot wait to get in the shop.
Well, I love my job too. I don't want this to go out the wrong way. There's some days I can wait to get here.
Yes.
And other days I can't wait to get here. And I'm sure somebody else understands that. Well, I imagine your typical work week looks a lot different now than
definitely.
it did as a CFO. So what does a work week look like now for Rick Gunn?
Well, I have 5 to 6 guitars that are under construction or in finishing. So there's always something that needs to be done on at least 2 or 3 of them, it seems like.
Yes.
So I spend a good amount each day working in the shop, shooting lacquer, doing wet sanding, that kind of thing. But I still have time to play with my dogs. I'm not in the shop 10 hours a day, but I'll be in there sometimes late at night working. And I probably do maybe 40 hours a week in the shop.
That's a good
because
bit.
I love doing it.
Yes.
Now, if I didn't like it, of course I wouldn't be in there. And I try to sneak in some golf 1 or 2 days a week if I can get it in. And then of course I have visitors come to the shop to see the guitars and to play them and to make orders.
That sounds awesome. If I could go back in time and someone would tell me, Everett, 30 years from now you'll retire and you'll be starting a second career doing your hobby, I'd sign up for that right now.
Well,
so I think that's great what you've got going there.
I never dreamed of it actually coming true and doing it.
Wow, that's awesome. Just absolutely awesome. So what was the most challenging part to getting started? Because there's always challenges and obstacles. What's the most challenging?
Well, when I started building guitars, I wasn't doing it to sell them. That was never on the radar. To sell a guitar was never even the idea that someone else who actually played guitar would want one of mine. I never thought about it until a fellow at work played one, and he ordered the first one, and then that was in 2012. So that's where I say it's officially Rose Creek Guitars, and it just started happening one after another. He would tell his friend, they would tell their friend. I do no advertising. I only use Facebook and Instagram.
Wow.
I post everyone's guitar on both sites. So it's been word of mouth. And I've shipped them all over the country, the far corners, as they say. And I've got one customer that has 6, another with 4, several with 2 to 3. And it's just word of mouth. Best
advertising there is.
Oh, it is.
Word of mouth.
It is.
Well, I know somebody out there has got to be thinking the same thing. I'm thinking, what's the significance? And I know it's something we were going to talk about, but how did you come to the name of Rose Creek Guitars?
Well, actually, I live in a neighborhood named Rose Creek, so it was actually pretty easy.
Just that simple.
Fairly easy.
Just that simple.
I actually had another name for the company, Fat Boy Guitars, but my wife shot that down pretty quick. And my mentor, he's actually has a company called Blues Creek Guitars in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And that's where I got my guitar kits from.
Okay.
So when it came to the name, Rose Creek kind of fit, kind of stuck.
Yeah.
And, now we've incorporated a rose into the headstock. So people can actually pick literally everything from start to finish on a guitar.
Wow. Very nice. Very nice. Well, We were just talking about YouTube and Facebook, but there are plenty of ads on YouTube encouraging people to be entrepreneurs. However, we also know that it may not always be as easy as it seems. What are some of the key lessons that you learned about entrepreneurship?
Do not take on more than you can handle.
That's good advice.
I've actually scaled back some of the services that I perform. I did complete renovations on vintage Martins and Gibsons, but I've actually had to scale that back because I wanted to spend more time on the actual building.
Yes.
And I enjoy working on guitars. That's what I love to do, repairs, maintenance. But some of the renovations can take almost as long as it does to build a new guitar.
Oh, my goodness.
So when you have several of those going, it kind of takes your focus away from what you really want to do.
Yes.
And when I made the decision to actually reduce that type of work, I got more calls to do that type of work than I've ever received. But I didn't go back to doing it. So
Understood. We'll stick with the thing that really brings you the joy. So
Right. And don't make it a job. If it ever becomes a job, then it's no fun.
Yes.
And that's why I enjoy it so much, because scaling that back actually did take a lot of time away off of what I was having to do. And you felt like you were always having to be in the shop working. And that was the last thing I wanted. And my wife constantly tells me, you are retired. Try to act like you were retired. And it's tough. Because when you get an obsession, you want to do the best you can for your customers. And I just, at some points along the way, I just took on too much.
Understood. But get focused back.
Get focused back.
Get right back on track. Well, could you share one or two, let me restate that. Rick, could you share one or two of the most exciting things that has happened as a result of you starting your business?
Well, number one, the customers, they get to completely design their guitar from the ground up. It's a completely custom acoustic guitar. They literally pick the wood for the back and sides, the top, the bindings, the inlays.
Wow.
If they want a sunburst on the top, if they want the top to be a black finish, if they want it to be an all-black guitar. So they literally get to pick out every phase of the guitar. And as I'm building it, I send them photos of each phase. So they get to see it. And they're welcome to come visit me in the shop to see their guitar while it's being built. The best part, of course, is when they come to pick it up, the excitement.
Yes.
I've had grown men crying like little school kids.
Oh, my.
Oh, yes. I've had several couples come to pick up a guitar, the husband not knowing that the wife had already ordered him a guitar.
Oh, my goodness.
And he had, one of them was where someone had gotten on stage and played one of the guitars that another customer had. So the wife ordered that exact guitar for her husband, and he had no idea that it was ready for him when they came to the shop.
Wow. Yeah, I can see that being a real good thing. And I can't even imagine to be able to totally customize a guitar of your own. I mean, it literally is my guitar.
And everybody has their idea of what they want. And it changes as they go along, constantly changing, it seems like, on a lot of instances. But you have to kind of hold their hand and keep them on the path, because there's some things you don't want them to do on a guitar, some things you want them to do. My job is to help them design it. But what I love is having a husband and wife together, and they're designing their own guitar. And they're picking everything out, and they can take 2 hours or 4 hours. And my wife has actually come into the foray to help guys who just can't figure out what they want.
Are you kidding me?
No, sir.
There's guys who can't make a decision.
I know, it's hard to believe.
No way.
But I offer literally it's from the ground up. So a lot of people are overwhelmed. And I have a room full of demo guitars of different sizes and different woods.
Okay.
So they were able to actually compare the different tone woods to each other in a same sized guitar. So it actually helps them. And it also helps me knowing what kind of music they play, because I can guide them along with, this is the type of wood you want. If you're playing a bluegrass, you want a stiffer top. If you like to be a finger picker, you want a softer top, stuff like that. So I'm able to actually point them in the right direction.
I'm smiling and laughing because so much of that sounds like Greek to me. I mean, it's things, subject matter I've never even thought about. And I mean, you're just right there, the different types of wood and how it may affect the sound, the type of music. I never would have. And
a lot of people have absolutely no idea what goes into one.
That would be me.
And then when they come in and they see everything and they hear it, and then they can literally pick things like bracewood for their guitar. They pick fret wire. They pick everything.
Man.
So it's, as I keep saying, it's a completely custom, but it is. It's their guitar. I've only had a couple of guitars that have been copied, where I've made the same guitar twice. Probably of the 150, 145 of them are completely different. No two are the same.
Man.
And that's one of the things I tell them is when they come to pick it up, you own the only one like that.
One of one.
One of one, exactly.
Real special.
Built their way.
Very special. Wow. Well, I know at some point we're going to talk about guitars, and I know we're going to be taking a look at a guitar that you brought with you today. Sir. But I'll ask a couple more questions before we do that. So, for our listeners that are nearing retirement, or maybe even already there, what message would you like to pass along to them about embracing new beginnings and pursuing their own passion, similar to you?
Yes, sir. One of the things that people always say when they're nearing retirement is they say to themselves, I can't live on 60% of my salary. And I've always explained to people, well, you're no longer paying Social Security. You're no longer paying teacher's retirement. You're no longer paying for a car to drive back and forth to work. Gas. You're no longer paying $10 for lunch every day. So if you sit back and look at your expenses, a lot of times you'll find things that you're doing that you won't have to be doing when you retire, and you won't have to be paying that money.
Yes.
So you can find ways to actually convince yourself, maybe I can fiscally do this. It was easier for me being a money guy because that's all I've ever done is accounting.
Right.
But, you start seeing at the end, is it possible? Is it possible? And then you start looking. And I retired at 55. So I was much younger, but I had my 30 years in. A lot of people wait till they're old enough to retire and draw Social Security.
Yes.
And I'm old enough this year to actually draw Social Security. But it can be done if you want to do it. And we never, like I said, we were never big spenders on things. We were always savers. And that helps a lot.
Yes.
When you get near the end and you have a bunch of car payments, college debt, it can be scary.
I would imagine so.
But it can be done.
Yes. So that's good advice, ladies and gentlemen. You can do it. If you're second guessing it, thinking you might not be able to do
Especially if you have kids, it's tough.
Yeah. It can be done. And that's the good news.
Yep.
That's the great news, actually. So what's next for Rick Gunn and Rose Creek Guitars?
Just taking more orders, hopefully. I don't do any advertising. It's pretty much word of mouth, Facebook and Instagram. I do not have a website because I would just have too much work to do.
Yeah, more work.
And I love doing it. So it's, and my prices are not what a lot of builders are. So I'm able to get guitars in the hands of people that would not ordinarily be able to order a custom guitar. A lot of places they start at $5,000 and $6,000.
Oh my goodness!
Right, and it can get pretty steep. And I start just above $3,000. So there's a lot of people, and $3 is a lot of money still.
Sure.
If you haven't played guitar, but once you get into playing and you start realizing how much guitars cost, especially to get the sound that you're wanting, and the tone, the playability, then it's easier to spend the money on them.
Yes.
Because it's just like any other hobby as you get into it. And so it's one of those that it just kind of has happened.
Wow.
But I'll keep building, and there will be a day, just like when my 30 years came up.
You'll know.
Same like my time in the military. You get to a point, you go, well, that's my last sale. I'm done.
Yep.
I hope it's not tomorrow, but it could be. But
Understood.
No. But like I said, I'm just enjoying life a little more, trying to relax a little more. I've always had a job, always worked full time. And the guitars, I'm trying to actually scale it back so I can enjoy retirement some more.
Understood. Well, I know you brought a guitar along with you, so maybe we can take a look at that.
Sure,
and hear a little bit about that.
Didn't mean to strum it.
That's beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Yes, this is guitar number 50. And this is modeled after a Martin D45 style guitar. It's one of the most expensive ones that I offer. This one is actually around about $5,500. And it has basically the D45 has pearl everywhere. One of the advantages of a custom guitar is I'm able to offer some things that the actual guitar company itself can't offer. And I do some things that Martin doesn't do. Martin is kind of like the standard for everyone. But in a custom, you're able to lighten up the bracing a little bit, so the top's able to move a little bit more, so you're able to get better tone and better sustain with it. And as I said, the customers completely designed their guitar from the ground up.
Wow. That's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
How's that thing sound?
Oh, it sounds pretty good. Madagascar has a sweet sound. It's almost like a Brazilian rosewood, but it doesn't have the issues that a Brazilian has.
Okay.
Sustain on it.
Yeah.
And it will go for about 20 seconds before it dies off.
What a great sound.
And I actually play very rarely. I only play when I'm getting a guitar ready to ship. And I have about 3 songs I play for about 45 seconds each. And then I take the tension off the strings, put it in the case, and ship it.
That's what you would call the QA testing.
The QA testing. So, and I actually built this guitar on Martin's website. This would be a little over $15,000 from their custom shop.
$15,000?
If Martin had built it. Yes, sir.
Wow. And now you have, as a new customer of yours, you would have your own fully customized guitar for a fraction of the cost.
For a fraction, exactly. Exactly.
Cost. Yes.
And I mentioned earlier my pricing, I try to keep my pricing lower than most other custom builders because I enjoy having people come into the shop and order a guitar that they could not order from anybody else. So I have people who get the custom experience that would have never gotten it.
That's absolutely outstanding.
And
absolutely outstanding.
And I love doing this. It's not necessarily doing it for money.
Yeah.
Money's great and all, but I'd rather have happy customers.
Yeah, happy customers and following your passion.
That's it.
Well, Rick, are there any last words, thoughts, or advice that you'd like to leave with our audience today, whether it's about retiring or getting ready to retirement or even about custom guitars?
As you near the end, you'll start getting apprehensive about what am I going to do when I retire. Do not worry. You will find plenty to do when you retire. Shortly after I retired, I realized how in the world was I able to work a 40-hour work week, normal job, actually, more than 40 hours a week. When did I fit that into my life? Because now my life is so fluid, I can do whatever I want when I want, literally. I'm not reporting to anyone. I'm not clocking in. If I want to work in the shop today, I work in the shop. And if I don't, I don't.
Wow. So that's just sweet. That's just sweet. You have absolutely done it the right way. You've set an example for your family, your friends, that lets them know that they can do it. And the plan works.
It works. Exactly.
It works. And that's the good news for us as well as for our viewership and listenership. The plan works. Slow and steady is the way. Rick, it has been really great to have you here in the studio with us today. And on behalf of our podcast studio team, Georgia's educators, and all of us here at TRS, thank you.
Thank you.
For sharing your inspiring advice, your encouragement, and your story with us. And I hope that our members and friends are empowered as a result of the information you shared with us and the time that you spent with us today. And we want you to know that you have an open, outstanding invitation to come back anytime you'd like to do so if you want to share with us in the future.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Excellent. Members and friends, this concludes our interview with Rick Gunn. We hope that you'll find this discussion to be insightful and helpful for you as you near or continue your retirement. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to follow TRS, Your Retirement in Focus, on your favorite streaming platform for more conversations like this one. And as always, we invite you to share our podcast with your family and friends. And if you have questions, comments, or feedback that you'd like to share with us, you can reach us at podcast@trsga.com. So until next time, take care and keep your financial future in focus with TRS, Your Retirement in Focus.